How are you feeling today? There's a very familiar moment. When you begin to like someone, everything inside you naturally wants to move faster. Not because you are in a rush, just because you no longer want to stay in that in-between state. You want to know, to be sure, to give this feeling a clear name. And then when someone talks about slowing down, inside you there may be a faint ripple of a feeling that is hard to name. Not exactly resistance, just discomfort. Going slow sounds like holding something back, like not being enthusiastic enough. As if, once there are feelings, why not move a little further? Especially when around us, everything happens very fast. Messages answered immediately, feelings spoken immediately, and silence is often understood as no longer caring. Maybe you have been in that situation too. When you do not reply right away, do not suggest meeting soon. Do not reach out to touch them. And a very small question passes through your mind. Is this okay? You do not say it out loud, but the question is still there, quietly. We are often advised to listen to our hearts, to be honest with our feelings, to be brave in love. But few people tell us that the heart does not only know how to love, it is also very afraid. And sometimes, what makes us want to move fast is not necessarily because the feelings are too strong, but because we are not used to staying still when things are not yet clear. Slowing down, therefore, is not just a choice. It touches a very deep unease, the fear that if you do not hold on, the other person will leave, the fear that if you are not fast enough, you will be left behind. Perhaps what matters is not whether you should move fast or slow, but rather, are you wanting to move fast because of love or because you cannot bear the feeling of uncertainty? You do not need to answer that question right away. Just let it be there. Because when you begin to notice it, many familiar things in the way you love will gradually come into view. Gently, but very real. Perhaps from very early on, we learned a few things about love, not from books, but from the way the adults around us loved each other, from what we saw, and also from what we never got to see. We learned that when you love, you should be clear. You should be certain. You should know where you stand in the other person's heart. And if something is ambiguous, if you have to wait, if you have to guess, then the feelings must not be strong enough. That belief sounds very reasonable. It sounds very right. But it also carries a very quiet pressure. Because if love must always be clear, then every pause becomes suspicious. If loving means being certain, then every hesitation looks like a wrong sign. There are times when you simply need more time, not because you do not have feelings, just because you are not ready to place your whole heart there, but you end up feeling guilty for that. As if you are disappointing someone, as if you are not passionate enough. You may have asked yourself, maybe I'm too cold? Maybe I don't know how to love? In truth, many of us grew up with a quiet belief that true love should not hesitate. But few people say that there are those who need to slow down, not because they love less, but because they love very carefully. Carefully with themselves, carefully with what is already broken inside them, carefully with the feeling of placing hope in a place where they are not sure they could endure it if they lost it. And when you understand that, you may begin to see pauses differently, not only as distance, but also as a very quiet effort to avoid hurting anyone further, including themselves. Perhaps moving fast is not always courage, and moving slowly is not always avoidance. Sometimes it is simply the only way a person knows to stay with their feelings without losing themselves. There is something we rarely say out loud, yet almost everyone has felt. That is, love does not only make us feel alive, it also makes us afraid. Not a loud kind of fear, but a very quiet one, arriving at night or in moments when there is nothing to distract us. When you start paying more attention to someone, when you wait longer than usual for their messages, when one sentence from them can make you happy all day or sad for a very long time, on the outside, you are still fine, still working, still laughing, but inside, something begins to tense up because loving someone is not only wanting to be close to them, it is accepting a very real possibility that they may see you more clearly and still be able to leave. No one teaches us how to stay steady. In that moment, the moment you realize you are giving someone else the power to hurt you, and perhaps because of that, many of us begin to change the way we love, right when the feelings become more real. Some people move faster, love harder, give more, as if being enthusiastic enough will make everything stay. Others slow down completely, keep their distance, keep silent, not because the feelings are gone, but because they feel very clearly that they are standing in front of a deep edge. You may have been there. That feeling of wanting to step forward and wanting to step back at the same time. Wanting to be chosen and fearing that once you are chosen, there will be no way back. Love, at this moment, is no longer as sweet as it was at the beginning. It becomes a very real question. If I open my heart a little more, will I be able to bear it? If things do not go the way I hope? Not everyone dares to stay long with that question, and it is from here that very familiar reflex in love begin to form reflexes that follow us for many years, that sometimes we do not understand why we are the way we are. Some fears are not born in the present. They have been there for a very long time. They simply speak up when we truly love someone. Not all of us grew up in a place safe enough to be loved naturally. Some people learned love very early, but others learned something else. That love is not always there. Perhaps as a child, you did not know whether you would be cared for that day or not. There may have been days when everything was calm, and days when the voices in the house grew cold, or sharper, or silent to the point of suffocation. No one sat down to explain what was happening. You only knew that. Your feelings did not always have a place. Being sad was seen as troublesome. Asking questions was seen as a problem. And so, you learned to shrink yourself. You learned to play alone, to think alone, to soothe yourself. Not because you liked being lonely, but because it was the only way to keep things from getting worse. Love, in those years, was not a place to lean on. It was something that came and went, unstable, unpredictable. And a child who grows up in that learns a very quiet lesson. Do not need too much, because needing too much is dangerous. It leads to disappointment, to wait without hope. So when you grow up, even though you are no longer in that house, your body still remembers. It remembers the need to be cautious, to observe, to prepare yourself for the possibility of not being met. And perhaps because of that, when love appears in your life, it is not only something new, it also awakens a very old memory. The memory of having needed and not having been there for. You do not think about this every day, but it is there, quietly. And when someone comes too close, or cares too much, or is too ready to stay, your entire inner system becomes alert, not because they did anything wrong, but because a very deep part of you has never learned how to rest in sufficiency, there is something very hard to understand, and also very hard to admit. That is, we do not always leave when we are treated badly. Sometimes we leave at the exact moment someone begins to treat us very kindly, when they care consistently, when they do not play games of ambiguity, when they are there without us having to try too hard. That should feel safe. But for some people, the body reacts differently. The heart does not open. It subtly contracts, not because you do not like them, but because it feels too unfamiliar. You may notice this in very small moments. When they text regularly, you begin to reply more slowly. When they check in often, you feel the urge for more space, not because they did anything wrong, but because inside you, a part is trying to keep balance. For those who grew up with scarcity, abundance can be overwhelming, like a body that is used to eating very little, suddenly being offered a meal that is too large, not because the food is bad, but because you do not know whether you can digest it, and to avoid being overwhelmed, you start finding faults. They seem too weak, too kind, too caring. Those reasons sound reasonable, but deeper down, they are simply ways to create distance, to return to a more familiar state, less feeling, less risk. You may have left like that too, not loudly, not with arguments, just slowing down, growing colder, and then disappearing. And afterward, you may wonder why you did that, but it is very possible. You did not leave because they were not good enough, but because a part of you has never learned how to stay when things are good. Love, at this point, is no longer something that makes you happy. It becomes a very deep test whether you dare to stay in an unfamiliar place where you do not have to brace yourself, do not have to defend, do not have to prepare for loss. Not everyone is ready for that test, and not everyone who leaves is because they do not know how to love. Sometimes they are simply trying to protect a very old part of themselves that has never been safe. But the story does not stop with those who pull away, because there is another kind of reaction, one that is questioned far less often, yet it comes from the very same fear. Those are the people who love very fast, very intensely, very clearly. Right from the beginning, they give a lot, care a lot, show up a lot, make many promises. From the outside, it looks like romance, like someone who is not afraid to love, not afraid to offer their heart. But if you get close enough, you will notice something tense. They cannot tolerate not getting a response, cannot tolerate waiting, cannot tolerate vague answers. 2 hours without a message can make them restless. An evening without a clear plan can keep them awake. And so they give more, love harder, move faster, not exactly because they want to, but because they do not know what else to do, to keep the sense of safety from collapsing. The hard truth is, many romantic actions do not come from an overflow of love. They come from a very deep lack of confidence about whether one is worthy of being loved at all. They give so they do not have to face a very familiar voice in their head. If I don't try harder, if I'm not more special, they will leave. Their childhood may have taught them that love does not stay still, that it is here today and gone tomorrow. And so when they love, they do not wait. Do not test the waters. Do not let things grow naturally. They rush in as if moving fast enough will keep loss from happening in time. But loving this way is exhausting because you are not only loving someone, you are also constantly proving that you deserve to stay. And somewhere very deep, beneath all those gentle gestures, there is a very quiet panic. If I stop, will anyone still be there? This is not the story of people who love wrongly. It is the story of people who were never allowed to believe that they could be loved without having to run. After all that rushing, there's another kind of love that exists, quieter, less dramatic. And because of that, it is very easy to overlook. It is the kind of love that does not make you run, not running to keep up, not running to hold on, not running to prove anything. In this love, you still like the other person, still feel moved, but you do not lose your breath. You do not need to check your phone constantly. Do not need to guess where you stand today. Do not need to try to become enough. You can think, I like them, but I'm still okay if they're busy today. It sounds very ordinary, but for those who have loved in panic, it feels very strange, because for the first time, love does not come with tension, does not come with the fear of losing, does not come with trading yourself away. Here, slowing down is not a defense. It is a very quiet confidence, not the kind you say out loud, but a bodily sense that you do not need to hurry. In order to stay, you may want to be closer to them, but you also know you can step back if needed. Nothing breaks. When you say, I need more time, no one leaves just because you are not ready yet. And if someone does leave because of that, perhaps they were never intending to stay. With who you truly are, mature love does not make you tense up. It gives you enough space to be yourself without fear of losing. And within that steadiness, something very important begins to appear. You no longer love to fill a void. You love because you have a place to stand. Not all of us have known what it feels like to love without worry. Some people learned that very early, but others did not. If you did not have that calm from the start, it does not mean you are weak. It simply means you were never taught how to stay at ease when being loved. You grew up learning how to manage on your own, to guess, to adjust yourself, to fit other people's emotions. And then, when you step into love, you bring all those skills with you. Only this time, they no longer keep you safe. There are moments when you move too fast, just so you do not have to feel left behind. There are moments when you pull back too early, just so you do not have to face needing someone, not because you do not know how to love, but because you are loving with the very things you once needed to survive. Relearning how to love safely is not something that happens in a day. It does not come from a grand resolution. It comes from very small things, from allowing yourself not to reply right away, from allowing yourself to say, I'm not sure yet, from not blaming yourself just because you need more time. You begin to listen to your body more closely, which sensations are calm, which ones are in a panic, and you trust those signals instead of forcing yourself to love in a correct way. Gradually, love is no longer a place that requires you to constantly adjust yourself. It becomes a space where you can slow down without fear of being forgotten. Not because you are no longer afraid, but because you are beginning to know how to stay with yourself, even when no one else is there yet. At some point, you begin to realize that slowing down no longer makes you feel guilty. Not because your feelings are gone, but because you understand that your feelings deserve to be treated gently. You no longer rush, just to be chosen. No longer try to say enough, do enough to make someone stay. You begin to allow yourself not to know everything right away, not to be clear right away, not to name the relationship too soon, not because you are avoiding it, but because you do not want to trade away the rare sense of peace you have just learned to have. Pauses begin to appear, and this time, they do not frighten you. You do not fill them with explanations. Do not run from them with hurried actions. You stay. That's all. And in that staying, you begin to hear more clearly what you truly need. What makes you feel at ease and what makes you tense. You no longer see being loved as a measure of your worth. No longer place yourself in a position of having to be chosen at all costs. Slowing down now is not a defense. It is a very gentle boundary, a quiet way of telling yourself, I matter. And when you begin to love from that place, things are no longer loud, but they are real. Then there comes a time when you realize you no longer stand before love with the same rushed heartbeat as before. You still feel moved, still feel your heart open, but there is no longer the sense of having to chase in order to hold on to something. You reach out your hand, not because you are afraid of losing, not because you worry that if you slow down, everything will slip away. You reach out when you are settled enough within yourself to know that whether the other person takes your hand or not, you are still there. If they take your hand, you move forward, slowly and very aware. If they do not, you do not collapse. Not because you do not feel sad, but because you know you can move through that sadness without losing yourself. Perhaps this is the first time you allow yourself to love without tensing up just to survive, not trying to become more lovable, not proving yourself more worthy, just you, real enough to stay and steady enough to let go if needed. If, over the past few minutes, there was a sentence that made you pause, a passage that felt like it spoke on your behalf, you do not need to do anything right now. Just know that you are not the only one who has ever loved this way. And if you want, you can stay here a little longer. Stories like these still have many things that do not need to be said in a hurry.